Hey, everybody, January 1st, 2020. Lonnie and I are excited about this podcast. We're excited about 2020, and we both decided that we wanted to do this on day one. And I was talking to one of our clients this morning via DM, and I said, 365 days of awesomeness. Let's kick it off today. And he said, it's a leap year. They're 366 days.
Right.
We have one more day to make even more success happen. But, Lonnie, I really appreciate you being here with me. I wouldn't want to do this with anybody else. And I think today we're going to be talking about the profitable path of the entrepreneur. And, you brought up some, guys, we always, what you're going to hear in all these podcasts is how Lonnie and I talk every time we get on the phone. We love business. We love the nuances of it. We love exploring rocks that we've already picked up and looked at. We pick them up again and look at them again and tell the same stories again because we hear different things in the story. It's part of what made us best friends, but it's also, we're just aligned in the fact that we want to become the best of the best that we can become at what we do. And, we're talking about the profitable path of the entrepreneur, but that's kind of how our conversation started 7 years ago.
That's right.
And here we are doing the same thing. So, Lonnie, why don't you kick off talking about who and what somebody needs to be in order to be a profitable entrepreneur?
Thank you, man. First of all, Happy New Year, brother. Happy New Year to you. This is the way you were speaking to this earlier. You said, hey, look, we need to get this year kicked off right because we're excited. We're super excited. Why do you wait? I mean, why do people, it's the first of the year. I had a couple client calls today and they were hesitant to ask me if the first of the year, day one, was the ideal time to get on a call. Heck yeah, it's the most ideal time because it's time. It's right now. It's time to not only get a business started, but move a business forward.
Yes, sir.
And going on vacation, both mentally and physically, is not the way to get a business started or move a business forward. So this is a really good topic for us, the profitable path of an entrepreneur. And we thought this would be great to get it kicked off because there are 4 elements in becoming a profitable entrepreneur and starting that path. So, Kris and I were talking about this earlier. There's 4 elements. There's a 0, there's a number 0, there's a number 1, there's a number 2, and there's a number 3. And they're all collectively the pieces of a puzzle that is going to help move your business further and faster than most entrepreneurs ever get the opportunity to do.
Well, it's a statistic that I bring up all the time, and I'm going to beat this horse well past the point that it deserves, but 95% of people fail. And, you and I have been doing this more than half our lives. And for a long time, I never really thought about that being successful. Because like all entrepreneurs, I've had ups and downs, and man, I've cried on your shoulder. You've seen
cried on yours.
seen me go through the process, but over time, I started to learn that most people aren't successful. And when I say most people aren't successful, it's almost like winning the lottery. People aren't successful at being an entrepreneur. Yeah. And that made me even more, once I started to understand that, well, crap, we're part of that 5% that is successful. I better start understanding what that is because there's a 95 and a 5% of that percent. So the 80-20 of the 20% of the 20% of the 20%, because I had a business in 2009 that I closed the doors on. And then I started back up in 2012, and I don't ever want to go through that experience again. And the other thing is I don't want any human being to go through that experience if they don't have to. Although I can step back now and go, I appreciate everything I've been through. It was excruciating and unnecessary. And so, meeting you, starting to really because you're a systems guy, I'm able to broad stroke a lot of things and understand and tell a lot of stories, but you're a systems guy. So you have bullet points along this path and you understand that these things have to be checked off. And if they're not, it's going to be the thing that you don't see coming that ends what you're trying to accomplish.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So one of the major thing we were talking about, the 4 different steps, or the 4 aspects, is beginning with 0, and this is probably the most important, and it's understanding. I would have to call it understanding your life and business DNA. And not only your business DNA, but the DNA of your potential client. So you got to understand who you are, and who you are as it relates to what it is that you want to do, what it is that you do, and what it means to your client. You got to understand your potential client, because we don't really start out with clients. I mean, we may have may be inspired by something we've done in the past, and we can look at that and say, I could do that, and I could get a client from that. I did that in the clothing business. It's like I was working in a clothing store when I was in college, and people were coming in buying high-end clothing. And I'm like, really understanding that, hey, I'm good at this. I'm pretty good at this. I can make sales. And then my clients started inspiring me. Well, their clients, I'm just the salesperson there, but their clients said, hey, if you weren't here, I would still do business with you. Wow. Because I came in here originally to buy clothing, but now I'm coming here specifically to buy clothing from you. So you get those little clues, and you start to understand your DNA, and it gives you little hints about your potential client's DNA. So this is so important. You want to speak to that, knowing who you are, who your client is, and what that means, like in the forefront, before you even get into audiences and the other elements?
Well, I think, a lot of people probably don't know this, but, how I came online was first with Elite Airsoft Store, which was a $30,000 mistake. And the reason that it was is because I spent all this time and all this money creating a product that eventually, when it sold, would net me $5 and had 0 warranty on it because it was a drop ship product. Right. That led me to a personal and professional development business called Think to Succeed, which is still going on today. And the reason I built Think to Succeed, honestly, is because I needed the personal and professional development. And I believe that if I held myself accountable to being the teacher of such information, that I would then, take that information seriously and take it on, because I believe in personal development a lot. And through the process of us talking to a lot of clients, through the process in my evolution of understanding what that meant to me, what being an entrepreneur was, I had to start getting really clear on not only what my superpowers are, but what they aren't. And more importantly, the people that I'm going to be serving, am I capable of serving them something that they want, something that they need, and something that they're willing to pay money for? And, we've seen a lot of clients that they'll have a great idea that is very, personal to them, but they haven't taken the time to see if their clients might want it. Right. There are a lot of people that are in a transitional period in their life. And so they go, oh, this is the thing. And they invest a lot of time and a lot of money. But because it's a transitional thing, we've seen people transition right out of that opportunity that they paid us lots of money to help them brand. And so it's so important. In my opinion, we've talked about, having a purpose and things like that. You call it whatever you want, but it's really important to know that whatever you want to do and whatever you want to offer the marketplace is something that you've thought about. Well, if this does grow, do I want to continue to do it? And is this client the kind of client that I want to continue to invest time in? And do they want to continue to invest time in me? And I think we're halfway sharing this message, not because we were super solid on it ourselves all the time, but we've become really solid on it because of the experiences that we've had. And I think that it can serve people to take the time to slow down and do that very thing, because here's what I believe. There's a whole bunch of things that Lonnie and I are going to talk about that are the things that are the pieces that have to be put together. And that's great. but there's also this little thing called the magic. And some people call it focus. Some people call it being in the zone, whatever. But when Tiger Woods makes that shot at Augusta, and it's this crazy flop shot on a downward green, and if it doesn't hit the hole, it's going to roll in the water, and he flops it and nails it, and he does it again and again. That's not because of all of these little things, although they were important. They would never have happened if it wasn't. It's because he was so certain in what he was doing.
Right.
He became the machine. And if people will take the time to become so certain when all these other things are in place, they end up skyrocketing to success because they don't take the pause of going, do I deserve it? There's a million things that can go through your head. And it's because that's who you were made to be. And you know that you're in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing. And you just automatically start doing those things. So taking that, and I love the fact that you called it zero, because it's before you even do anything.
It's ground zero.
This is what you have to decide. And it's the kind of thing that if you really know that it's what you want to do, and one of us were to come in any way to try to take it away from you, you might cry, you might get angry, but you won't stop.
Right.
You won't stop. And that's how certain I want people to be as they're going to go through this process of being an entrepreneur, about what it is that they're willing to offer the marketplace. Because the truth is you will bleed for being a business owner.
Yes.
It's not all roses. And I know everybody says that, but if you haven't done it, or if you have, but if you haven't done it, it's going to take everything you have to be successful at what you want to do.
Man, I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. And that ground zero, I mean, it's like when you go inside of any building, you have to go to the lobby.
Yeah.
Right. And then you get on that elevator and then you go up. So that is ground zero is essential to your success. You've got to have that. And this is a piece that people don't do. They miss out on the step zero because they don't really think it matters. It's like, if I can see what someone else is doing, and if I can see what the flavor of the day is, then I can do that and I can make money. It's just a wrong approach.
Well, you and I talked about some people that you have done business with in the past. And I remember you were telling me that you were helping them with some things, and I was just looking at you sideways like, I don't understand that.
Why? Yeah.
I don't understand spending 6 months to do this thing called a launch. And I don't even care if you make $1 million off of it. There doesn't seem like there's any long-term stability in that. And it scared the crap out of me. Like, that's not a process that I want to be a part of. I want to see how we build momentum, and that momentum with the stuff that we already have, we bring them along with us as we offer better services and more services and help them scale at a bigger level. And I know in the internet marketing space, that was a taboo thing for a long time, because you could make a lot of money without doing any of that.
Right. Our shared philosophy is that we're not here to help you launch a product. We're here to help you launch a business.
Right.
We've shared that philosophy since day one.
Right.
It's not about, oh man, if I could just get this product out here and make $1,000, I'll be great. But then after that, what happens? What's next? You have to do it again. And that's not my ideal way of duplication.
Right.
Or replication. Either one of them. It's not my ideal way, because it has a short shelf life. So number one is identifying your audience. Okay. Now that you understand who you are and you understand what it is that you do and what you want to do and what that means to your potential ideal client, you've got to have an audience in order to find those ideal clients. And you want to know, first of all, where do they hang out? So here's the simple solution to finding your ideal client. Okay. You say this thing all the time. It makes me chuckle. Is it like you got to kiss a lot of toads or something?
Yeah, kiss a lot of frogs.
You got to kiss a lot of frogs. Same thing. So it's like you've got to be everywhere that your potential audience is. The answer is, like, I get asked this all the time. Kris, I get asked this literally, I don't know, 5 or 6 times a week, is where do I find clients? Where do I find an audience of people? On social media. Well, which platform is the best? All of them.
Mm-hmm.
There's 7 right now that I play in, that I encourage everyone to play in. Some you're going to say, oh, well, that's for kids, like TikTok. No, it's not. There are influencers on TikTok that are adults that have 2.5 million followers.
Right.
TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and I'm probably forgetting one. Twitter, thank you. Twitter. You've got to be everywhere, because that's where your audience is. That's where your audience is. And if you're not there, you're doing yourself an injustice. So you want to know where they hang out. You want to know what are their concerns. What is it that they're going through? What is their pain? What is their question? What is the obstacle? What's the hurdle that they need to overcome? And once you can hang out with them and spend time with them, and based on understanding who you are and what that means to them, then you can articulate that and craft it into a message that they can understand. Because you don't really get to establish a good relationship with people unless you give yourself permission to get out there and have those conversations with them. And Kris, even when we first met, our conversations were pretty cool, but now our conversations are very meaningful, and we can finish each other's sentences, and we understand how we think. You can't do that by just hanging out with someone for a day and then going on looking for something else or someone else. You can't do that. Nothing can be built on that. What are your thoughts?
There's a strategy, and I think a lot of people don't think about strategy. And I think it's the difference between becoming a consultant versus a salesperson. And there are multiple layers to this. I want to run through it quick, at least how I see it, and we can get into this later anyway. But more people see you online than you think see you. Just because they're not responding or liking your post or whatever, there's a lot more people watching. And people are forming opinions about you. They're forming opinions based upon what you post. They're forming opinions based upon your comments. I know I do. I'm somebody that pays attention to people on social media, and I look for patterns in people's communication, and I make judgment calls based upon what I see. And I know that if I'm doing that a lot of other people are probably doing that too. So number one, it's really important to make sure that whatever you're communicating about is meaningful to you and is something that you're willing to stand behind, because the people that are going to be ultimately attracted to you are going to be the same kind of people. And some of those people are really great clients and some of those people aren't. And it's important for you to know. So that's layer number one. That's what you post. Number two, what we're talking about is how do you find that audience? The truth is that there are 7+ billion people in the world, close to 10, I think, is what I'm hearing now. And there are over 2 million people just on one social media platform called Facebook, 2 billion people on Facebook. There's more than enough audience for you to have, but you have to be strategic in how you go about accumulating that audience. Because if you come in as a salesperson, which a lot of people do, it's because they're under-researched. It's because you don't come across as an authority when you speak. You come across as somebody that has something that you want to offer people without even knowing whether or not they're interested in watching it. Nobody gets on Facebook because they want to buy your crap. People get on Facebook because they want to socialize, but if you can blend yourself in there in such a way that what you have is something that they want, now they're willing to follow that thread a little while. Now they're willing to investigate you, and people will probably not buy on the first go round. It's 7 to 20 rounds of communication one way or another before they decide that you're like a legit person. So with that being known and knowing that you have to get your research done, the easiest way to get your research is to join other communities with potential people that you might want to do business with. The easiest way to join a community, there are plenty of free groups out there, but it's part of the strategy of making sales to people is here's a group. Come join the group. We're going to give a lot of value inside of this free group. And then we're going to host webinars or whatever opportunities for you to learn more about what we're offering. And if you want to move this relationship down to the next or up to the next level, come and join us. And I think that that's a very smart way of doing that. And then join that community. And then once you're a part of that community, you should serve it. That's all you really have to do is serve that community and become, even though you're the one that paid to be in that community, you should serve that community by offering value, by possibly offering more sales into that community. There's all sorts of ways to give back, to elevate yourself to a level of influencer inside of that community. And then from there, you can start communicating as an authority. And people are going to start to want to do business with you. I know it for a fact because we sell a lot based upon that very technique. It also puts you in the realm of being a consultant instead of a salesperson, because now you're doing people a favor. Now they have no like and trust with you. And they've also seen you be the kind of person that gives first. And people love to reciprocate that. The problem is that so many people are not here on January 1st doing business. They start January 10th. They start out and they become desperate for the sales. So now they want to shortcut this process. And I'm telling you, it only takes one good time with your ideal client to look like a jerk, to look like your self-interest is most important. That they might eventually buy from you, but they won't trust you. They'll do it reluctantly. And it creates a community of a whole bunch of people going in a whole lot of different directions. But if you're able to follow that process, what you're able to create from that is a tribe. And that tribe becomes a syndicate. That tribe becomes people that you know what's happening in your six. They know what's happening in their six. You know how to complement one another. You know how to help move them along. You look out for opportunities for them and they look out for opportunities for you. And now you can start growing your influence at an even larger scale. People don't talk about it that much. They show it, but I think it's really important to talk about because I would rather have, so it's funny, man. I was able to see Robin's newsfeed last night on her Facebook. And then I looked at my newsfeed. They're completely different. completely different. It's all because her interests are a lot different than mine. You're getting what you want in life. You asked for it, and so it's here right in front of you. And if you want to start making change, start gradually joining groups of people that are potentially interested in the kind of thing that you're interested in offering, and then watching what they say. You'll find over time that those people, that goes to the next part about message and delivery. So you talk about that.
Right. Well, man, first of all, thanks for that insight. Yeah. I mean, I got a lot of value out of that. People need to understand the value of community. They need to understand that it's not only about, see, within a community, there's a nucleus there, which we call the tribe. So, and it gets a little technical because community is the thing that people understand because they always hear that. I mean, Facebook is talking about their groups are communities. They don't say that they're tribes because they truly aren't necessarily tribes naturally. They become that. They become built and formulated into a tribe within that community. You know, you got to, like we were talking about, you got to kiss a lot of frogs to get to the princess or the prince, right, depending on your preference.
We don't judge.
Right, we don't care. So you got to do that. And what you'll find is that's where the value lies. The community becomes the people that inside that community, you're able to connect with the ideal people that are a fit for you and you're a fit for them. You're a match. The other people inside that community also become cheerleaders. They become customers. They become clients. There's a difference between customers and clients. Somebody asked me that the other day, Chris, said, what's the difference between a customer and a client? I said, a customer is someone that buys stuff from you. You don't necessarily know them, don't have a relationship, A client is someone that you're getting to know, and they're going to run with you. And even when they don't buy something from you and they're making the decision to buy something from someone else, they're going to come back and ask you, is that an ideal situation for them? Should they do it? Should they make that investment? So I like both. I like a lot of customers. I love clients. And I mean, I think one doesn't work without the other. So building that community is very important. Conveying that message to that community, because like we said, you've got to be where they are. Wherever they are, you've got to be there. Whether it's a Facebook group, whether it's a forum, whether it's the 7 social media powerhouses. And I want to go through those again. I want to make sure I'm going to name the one that I always forget first, which is Twitter. Secondly, is Pinterest. There's Snapchat. There's TikTok. There's Instagram. There's Facebook. And there's LinkedIn. Yes. So I got that's all 7.
And YouTube. Did you say YouTube?
Did I say YouTube? So there may be 8. So maybe I think there's 8. There's 8. Okay. So yeah, I mean, make sure you write those down. And what you want to do is you want to set up a profile up for each and every one of them. And then what I encourage you to do is to do what Kris and I have elected to do, and that's understand what each one of them does and how we can use it to get better impact for our business. Because your people are on all those platforms. And you're going to find a lot of value. You're going to find a lot of clients. You're going to find a lot of customers. And you're going to find community in all of those. And once you find that community, you're able to build that tribe. That tribe will kind of form itself. We've seen it happen over and over again. Yep. Kris, you and I have groups with thousands of people, hundreds of people in some cases. And we get what's called the usual suspects who show up. The usual suspects. If we do a webinar, the usual suspects will show up. If we make a post, the usual suspects will like and comment. It doesn't matter. If we're posting something on Instagram or on Facebook or on Twitter, those usual suspects show up. And that's the beginning of your tribe. So once those people show up, you start communicating directly to them. And that's how you build those relationships. That's how you get a better understanding of your message, crafting your message, understanding their problems, understanding how you can start to take them down that path of step 1, this is what you need to do to get to step 2. This is what you need to do to get to step 3. And this is what you need to do to get the result. And when you can do that, now you're ready to go into our element number 3, which is the product, one product. See, we've been talking about your life and business DNA, part 0. Part 1 is your audience, one audience. Part 2 is one message. Part 3 is one product. So when you can begin to articulate a person's issues or product, hurdles or obstacles better than they can tell you about it, kind of like when you're talking with a doctor, then they ultimately begin to look at you for the solution.
Yeah.
And you can't provide them with that solution unless you've had those conversations, unless you've broken down that community into a tribe. And this is where the product comes in. So now that you have an understanding of your message and the product and the audience, that product needs to only be delivered, created and delivered now. So you got to understand, what is the mode of delivery? How are you going to deliver it to your client? Well, you'll get your answer because they'll tell you. All you got to do is ask them. You got to understand, you got to make sure that it solves the problem, the specific problem of your client, your potential client, your audience, so to speak. And here's the thing here's where people stop. Here's where it ends. Most people do that. They pat themselves on the back. And guess what? Kris, you know what they do. They go and do it all over again, start a new product launch, right? instead of a business launch. So if you want to separate yourself from being the product launcher and become the ultimate business launcher, you've got to always have an understanding and have a very laser focused intention on where you can take them from there.
You know, what it reminds me of, pardon for interrupting, but I wanted to get this thought out. I've never done it myself, but I have heard that gold runs in veins.
Ooh.
You heard that too?
I've heard that, but yeah.
So what that means is that the gold, once you find it, there's more of it around. It's not in little nuggets. But I think a lot of times what I see happening, I know I've done it in the past, especially when I was working in my business so much instead of on it, is that you dig and you dig and you dig and you dig and you find this community and you find this audience and you end up creating this tribe and you end up selling your product, which is akin to finding a piece of gold. And then instead of continuing to dig around that to find more gold right in that area, somebody says that there's gold over there, or you heard that a guy got it over there. And so you run over there with your axe and you start digging there as well. You know, digging in that one vein of gold, there's so much left on the table, but there's a particular marketer that we're both really close to that made an analogy that absolutely blew my mind. And this is where I want people to elevate to. Mm-hmm. Do you think it's the people digging for the gold that are making the most money?
Most would. You know, I know the real answer.
The truth is that the real money's made selling the pickaxes. Absolutely. That's somebody that understands their community. That's somebody that took the time to investigate and to say, what do these people really need?
Yeah.
And then when he made his offer, boy, oh boy, people came in droves because he understood that everybody wants the gold. He just provided them with the tool to go dig for it.
Right.
And it's brilliant beyond brilliant. But if people are living in a desperate spot, all they're going to focus on is delivery. All they're going to focus on is, I did that, and they go on to the next one. And we need people to take the opportunity to know who they are, to take the time to investigate different communities, to understand what those communities need, to understand how to create a system of deliverability that is 100% always going to do what it says it's going to do. And then we need for them to be able to take a step back from that and start focusing on those next parts, which we're not going to talk about today. Right. I agree with you. It's more than what's needed. But I really, really want people to understand that you can run 100 miles and only get 3 feet.
Right.
Around in circles. And, you know, maximum effort, you should be applauded for maximum effort, but only when it's in the correct direction.
Right.
I tell you, I was definitely that Gary Larson kid at the School of Genius pushing on the pole door for a long time, man. People don't need to do that. You know what I'm saying?
I know, but you know, unfortunately, you're not alone. And you're definitely not alone. There's a lot of company there with you. I've been that guy too. And if you don't understand the dynamics of product launch versus business launch, then you're going to really set yourself up for a lot of pushing on the pull.
Yeah.
And you're going to set yourself up for a lot of 100 miles going nowhere.
Yeah.
I mean, it's why we see so much turnover in this industry. And of course, in the brick and mortar world, that speaks for itself. You see businesses, grand opening, grand closing.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And it's because they're not thinking long term. They didn't have their ideal customer in mind. They didn't have actually the passion that they needed in their DNA to say, hey, look, I'm worthy to do this. And I am the person that you need to have this done with. They never looked at it that way. Their message was skewed. their audience was never identified.
And they got 3 no's and decided that it was a bad idea.
Absolutely. So now their pizza joint becomes a coffee joint.
Yep.
Next to Starbucks.
Right.
Right. So it's like, you got to understand not only those components, but where, and the guy on this call is the next step guy. He's always, if you want to know, if you want someone to drill you on whether or not you've got a plan, you need to go to smartmarketingchat.com and get this guy. Talk to this guy, because look, if you talk to me about, okay, what do I do next? Guess what? I'm going to send you to this guy. Chris Whitehead will drill you on what is your next step and why. Where are you taking them? Okay, so you provided that for them. So what's next? What's next? You know, people who need socks also need shoes, and they also need shoelaces, and they need somewhere that they can use them, whether it's for walking or for running or swimming. So you've got to understand in advance that there's got to be a next step that you can take them, because that also speaks to your scalability of your business. So it not only provides your client with that ultimate experience, but it also provides them an ongoing ultimate experience, and it provides you with that scalability in your business that's going to create more profits.
Yep.
So that's what I have today, bro.
Well, and you know, the last thing that I really wanted to leave, I mean, this is a subject I could go, I know we could just talk the rest of the day about it, but we also have a Facebook group, Smart Marketing, etc. It's a free Facebook group because we follow what we preach. And, you know, we have a lot of great people in that group already, some really, really heavy influencers, and it's an opportunity for you to be around like-minded people. If, you know, we have some other podcasts out there under Smart Marketing, etc. Listen to them if you haven't listened to them. If this is your first one, welcome. Our goal is to continue to speak about entrepreneurship, about opportunity, about how you become the best version of yourself so that you can succeed in life and in business. And Smart Marketing, etc. on Facebook is a free community that we've developed. We have some rules that you have to follow, but as long as you're willing to follow those, you have the opportunity to be amongst other people that are doing this for a living. They're not pretending. They're not trying it out. They're not, I don't know if it doesn't work. We have all burned that ship to the ground. And then we burn the guys next to us to the ground just to let him know that if you get anywhere close to us, you don't get to have that. We don't accept that in our lives. We are lifetime entrepreneurs. We don't accept anything other than success for our life. And that means that even if what we have to do is reach inside of ourselves and burn something out, we're going to do it because we know that there are people out there in the world that are watching us. We both have families and we know our responsibility to them. And we like to lead from the front, not from the rear. So hopefully this podcast finds you well on January 1st, 2020. If you're listening in the future, I hope 2020 is a year that you've made a real choice for yourself. And come join us at Smart Marketing, etc. on Facebook. We'd love to have a chat with you. And what's that link again, Lonnie, if they want to have a private DM with you or I?
Yes, smartmarketingchat.com. Smartmarketingchat.com. And it sends you straight to the Facebook private message. You'll probably get a welcome from an artificial intelligence of some kind, but basically that's just to welcome you and introduce you to. It's like a whoever's first, and we answer pretty quickly. We are very passionate and adamant about helping you see success. And just the journey. I think Kris and I love more than anything the journey that we take with our clients who are very serious, with our serious clients. Okay, you got to be ready, and you got to have a plan, and you got to say, "Hey, look, let's go now, not tomorrow, not next week, not January 2nd. Let's go now, so that we can launch this ship from ground zero." And continue to scale that ladder of success.
Yeah, watching the evolution my greatest benefit from everything that we do is watching somebody go from a state of uncertainty to a state of they're doing it and they don't even like it's every time it happens the same way. People start doing it and they're having success and they don't know that and they come back to us and they go, well, I'm doing this and what do I do next? And we just keep doing what you're doing. It don't stop. It works, and it's so fun to watch it because we know what the next step of that is going to be. And it allows us to prepare for that and being involved in it. I mentioned it before we started recording this today. Like, bro, I wake up and I'm excited about this stuff. I'm excited about knowing, about learning what I don't know, about sharing what I have learned, and about watching other people not have to make the mistakes we made to find the success even quicker. And man, like always, I love doing it with you, bro.
Bro, that's reciprocated. Man, I can't thank you enough for this ride, for this opportunity. This is great stuff. I love doing what I do, but I'm having a heck of a lot of fun doing it with you. And the fact that we are getting these results and we're laughing about it, it's just great. And our clients are laughing. Yep. I mean, it's an awesome thing. You guys, ladies and gentlemen, you need to come join us in the Smart Marketing, etc. group. It is, how much is it? I think it's $0. It's $3. Isn't it free?
It's $3 for now.
And what happens if they miss out on the $3 special?
It'll be $3 then too.
We'll triple that price too. So it'll be 3 times $0.
Who is it that joined the group and I got her name wrong and I told her about the thump?
Valjean. And were you texting her and telling her about that? Because she made a laugh out loud. Yeah, she did. She said, she's my sister.
Okay, cool.
And she's so close to our family, her and her husband, Curtis. And we always have a good time. As a matter of fact, I'm going to see them in about 3 days.
Oh, cool.
And so I told her about the thump. We're going to tell you guys about the thump on another episode.
When we start talking about sales, we'll talk about the thump.
Yeah. But she got a kick out of that. She thought it was hilarious.
Who doesn't, except me? I love you guys. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everyone. We love you. We look forward to talking with you soon. Take care.
Take care.
Okay.